Cases of people infected with COVID-19 for the third time across China are growing rapidly, and hospitals are overcrowded. Recently, terms like Eryang and Sanyang are often seen on Chinese social media, and many netizens have shared their experiences of being repeatedly infected online. Eryang and Sanyang mean being infected the second time and third time in Chinese, respectively.
I have heard that there are many Sanyang cases lately. I seem to have got it too. I have had a fever for the past 2 days. Today is the third day. I have a particularly bad headache, fatigue, sore throat, and a fever. The fever goes up more than 37 or 38 Celsius, or 98.6 or 100.4 Fahrenheit. My husband said that this is a Sanyang case. When I look it up online, it does seem that Beijing has a lot of Sanyang cases lately, and COVID-19 accounts for a relatively large percentage of cases, so we should pay attention to it when going out. The third round of the new coronavirus has been here for a while now. I thought I might be able to ride it out as safely as the first 2 rounds and wouldn't get it. But since yesterday, I started to experience muscle aches and pains, sore throat, and low-grade fever, and all the symptoms have set in together. When I got home today, I did the nucleic acid test and found that I was definitely positive. So my first positive and the third wave of infection fit together perfectly. I would like to remind everyone that a lot of people may be careless at this point in time and may not pay much attention when going to crowded places or whatever. However, now that the third wave of infection is still present, it's important to pay attention and wash your hands frequently. Wear a mask when you go to a crowded public place. I'm surrounded by viruses. Viruses are everywhere. I just had dinner with my friends who just recovered from the infection, and then I had a coworker next to me who got it, and then his parents got it. His parents were both hospitalized. So I suggest that we don't underestimate the infection because it's everywhere.
On the evening of August 15, 2023, the Beijing CDC released its 32nd weekly infectious disease report. The total number of respiratory infections reported from August 7th to August 13th was 6,205 cases, with COVID-19 being the mainstay. It was a 71.6% jump from the previous week. It means that the third wave of COVID-19 outbreaks has probably begun. Although the CCP is accustomed to hiding the truth and the true figure is unknown to the outside world, a 71.6% jump is still nonetheless quite serious.
Let me share a set of relatively important data with you. A few days ago, the Beijing CDC released a summary report of respiratory infectious disease for the past week. The total number of cases was more than 6,200, most of which were COVID-19 cases, up 71.6% from the previous week. It suggests that the third wave of COVID-19 outbreaks has already begun. From the 30th to the 32nd week of this year, Beijing's respiratory infectious disease have increased by 5.3%, 20.6%, and 71.6% respectively. At this rate, it's estimated that the number of cases will double next week. So as far as we can see, the Sanyang has started early.
In addition to the increase in the number of patients with Sanyang, there was an outbreak of Mycoplasma pneumonia in August and September in many places. Many children suffer from it. Children's hospitals in Beijing, Tianjin, Henan, Shanghai, and other places are overcrowded. From the footage, we can see there are many children in the hospitals. On September 13th, Chinese media, The Paper, reported that since the start of primary and secondary schools in September, Shanghai's Children's Specialized Hospital has seen a wave of traffic, and the number of patients with infectious fever in children has increased significantly. Similar conditions are found throughout the country. Hospitals have many parents caring for their children.
My two sons have been hospitalized for a month. On the second day of my first son being hospitalized, this son was hospitalized too. He has been suffering from recurrent fevers, and it goes as high as 40 Celsius or 104 Fahrenheit. He can't walk. When walking just a little, he complained about shortness of breath. Has the wave of Sanya arrived or not? All the children who come to the hospital are coughing. A kid took medicine for 2 days without effect. On the third day, per our strong request, they x-rayed the lungs. It was said to be bronchitis judging from the x-ray. Because I'm afraid of Mycoplasma infection, we requested a Mycoplasma screening, but the doctor said there was no need. It's just bronchitis. He prescribed some medicine. We returned home. After taking the medicine for 2 days, it didn't work. We then waited until the 5th day, and we couldn't sit still anymore. He had a fever that got higher every day, up to 39.2 Celsius or 102.56 Fahrenheit. In other words, in this 5-day period, the kid took anti-inflammatory drugs. It didn't lower the body temperature, but it went up, higher and higher. The symptoms include fever and cough, but no other symptoms. The doctor said that recently there has been a particularly high incidence of lobar pneumonia, which is a Mycoplasma infection.
On September 13th, the reporter of the paper came to know that in the pediatric hospital affiliated with the Fudan University, from September 1st to 12th, the total number of daily emergency visits have been rising. As of now, it has increased 30% compared with the beginning of the month, and the peak of single-day outpatient clinics was nearly 9,000. There is a recent change in the visiting population. It used to be that summer appointments were dominated by specialty patients. Now there's a significant increase in children with common infections after the start of the school year in September. Many physicians across the country have also weighed in.
The black is the normal lung tissue, and then the white over here is a large kind of solid degeneration, which is white lung as mentioned in the common people's term. It means that the lung actually has lost its function and it doesn't take in any more air.
Now, our patients, about 80% of them, are caused by Mycoplasma infection. Most are Mycoplasma pneumonia.
It's Mycoplasma pneumonia. There is more Mycoplasma pneumonia now, and there is a high rate of drug resistance as well.
Mycoplasma infections are high this year, and there's a lot of pneumonia, so people must be vigilant. There are some FAQs. The number one question is, can Mycoplasma infection heal itself? Except for some mild infections, it's usually difficult to heal on its own. The so-called Mycoplasma pneumonia is like the COVID virus that was prevalent for 3 years, and it's mainly transmitted through droplets. Symptoms include fever, high fever that does not go away, white lungs, difficulty in breathing, lack of appetite, etc., but hospitals claim that it's Mycoplasma pneumonia. The public questioned the authorities for changing the name to cover up the outbreak. The official media reported the outbreak in the first half of the year to be influenza A, but in the second half of the year it became Mycoplasma pneumonia, despite the symptoms being the same as the COVID-19 virus. Red China is a land of secrets where even doctors won't tell you what kind of diseases people have. This is because doctors need to be politically sensitive. Politics come first before any job in China. On the other hand, the CCP has a high degree of control over the people, and it wants to know as much as possible about people's secrets. In the rest of the episode, we will explore how the latest Huawei phone, the Mate 60, accomplishes this political mission for the party. With the recent release of the new Huawei Mate 60, many people have enjoyed its Smart Pay feature and found it convenient and sophisticated. Today, I came to the store to experience the Smart Sense function of Huawei Mate 60, which is very hot. That is, you can pay directly by pointing your phone to the scanning device. Let's go and test it out. Please scan it. You just point it directly at the phone and scan. Isn't it amazing? Thank you. So, as you have seen, by pointing your phone at the scanning device, the camera on the phone can sense it and go straight to the WeChat payment app. The clerk was stunned and exclaimed, "Such a thing is possible?" It said that videos about the Smart Pay feature are all over China's web. So, what makes this high-tech feature possible? We all know that Huawei's cell phone has the function of Smart Pay. When the cell phone screen is aligned with the scanning device, it will automatically open the payment app. What people don't know is, if it aligns the picture of a scanning device, it works too. I am now looking for a picture of a scanning device. I align my phone with the picture. Okay, it's working, and then I'll change it to another picture. Okay, align it. It's okay too. Try this one. Okay, it's no problem. I changed it again to this style and see if it works. It's no problem. So, it's a picture recognition function. I always thought it was recognizing the light from the scanning device, but it turns out it recognizes the object of the scanning device. This video illustrates how the Huawei Mate 60 cell phone uses picture recognition rather than light from the scanning device to achieve the so-called Smart Pay feature. It's supported by the phone's front camera. It has to be turned on. We searched and found that Huawei's phone also had this feature. Hello everyone, I want to show you a new feature of the Mate 50. The previous Huawei Mate 40 series has a Smart Pay function. That is, if you point the phone to the scanner, it can automatically open the payment app. Today's Mate 50 is even more advanced. It has a smart scanning function. When you align the QR code with your cell phone, it will automatically open the payment app. You can see the speed is fast and it's already here. Tap here, it will automatically open WeChat Pay. After scanning the code, you can make a payment. The same is true on Alipay. You can see the speed is fast. The minute I moved over, it switched the app. I can easily switch between WeChat or Alipay, and the recognition speed is really very fast. You don't have to click open the app on the screen. You can make the payment right away. Wow, this feature is powerful. Huawei is awesome, and Mate 50 is awesome. The Mate 50 demonstrated in the video was launched last year in 2022. It looks like its rear camera is on to support this feature. Therefore, some people believe that Huawei's phone camera is always on. However, an online argument claims that there's a component in the phone called a gyroscope that senses the movement of making a payment and temporarily turns on the camera to support the function. But some people disagree because in the last video, the person filming the video just moved the phone slightly from one side to the other side. The movement was small, but it could recognize the QR code in front of it. It has long been rumored that Huawei spies and leaks personal information, so let's look at an incident from earlier this year. One individual bought Huawei's electric car and experienced something puzzling after an accident.
The car was driving at about 80-something, which is relatively fast, but when it hit the car in front, the airbag didn't pop.
According to mainland media reports, the car owner bought the Wenjia M7 about 3 months ago out of love for Huawei. Wenjia is a brand jointly developed by Huawei and Chongqing Celis. She also bought the Wenjia M5, the first car that Huawei and Celis collaborated on.
I think the M5 car drives okay, but this M7 brakes are very soft. But I don't expect that this car has become unacceptable to me, whether it is from the service or the quality of the product. I have been waiting for them. They have been asking me what my demand is, right? And then I said very simply, why didn't the airbag pop? I brought up two issues. One was why the brakes were so soft, and the second was why didn't the airbag pop? The manager kept saying he would send me the data, but so far there is none.
At that time, the customer speed didn't reach very high because we saw through the back-end data that the customer stepped on the brakes. Our back-end data, I remember, was about 40 miles per hour or so. Strangely enough, while waiting for the data to no avail, the car owner received a phone call from her workplace.
My boss said to me regarding this car incident, some leader approached him and told him to give some face and forget about it and so on. I said that can't be done. I told my boss directly that the factory had to give me an explanation. I made my demand very clear. Worst come to worst, I'll just lose this job.
The phone call to her boss wasn't done by us, but I need to verify this issue. So far, I haven't received any serious reply.
That's one of the questions I have. That's why I contacted the media to expose it. How did Huawei leak the information about their customers? How do they know my employment? How do they know my boss? How come their factory leaders find out about my boss through this unscrupulous means of theirs? That's what makes me most uncomfortable, more so than this accident of mine, I think.
China is probably the most heavily monitored country in the world. According to a new analysis by Comparitech, a UK-based company that provides cybersecurity products, cities in China are under the heaviest CCTV video surveillance in the world. In 2019, an information services provider from London, IHS Markit, predicted that there would be 1 billion surveillance cameras worldwide by the end of 2021. In 2017, it also suggested China would have 626 million cameras within 3 years, which was further supported by reports that China had around 600 million cameras within its Skynet project. Based on a population of 1.43 billion, using the most recent UN estimate, IHS Markit's figure of 626 million cameras means that there are 439.07 cameras per 1,000 people in China. That's almost 1 camera for every 2 people. Not only is there a lot more surveillance equipment, but the technology is getting more sophisticated.
Hello everyone, today I would like to introduce this cell phone inspection system, which is mainly used in the Army. Its main function is to check the content of the cell phone concerning pornography, gambling, classified information, military, political, abnormal financial transactions, and more than 10 kinds of illegal information. It works for both Android and Apple phones. We have 2 inspection modes. One is rapid inspection and the other is in-depth inspection. Now we'll demonstrate the 2 inspection modes. This is a quick inspection mode, having the cell phone scan the QR code directly. The deep inspection needs to have the cell phone connected using a USB cable. Deep detection will include WeChat chat records. You can check deleted and canceled messages. It can detect illegal content and recognize photos such as military uniforms, red header government documents, weapons, obscene pictures, etc. inside the phone. It can also customize the inspection keywords and support full automation detection so that no manual click is needed to complete the inspection work when the inspection is being carried out. It also supports the inspection of the list of apps installed on the cell phone, allowing the checking of the bill of WeChat and Alipay. We have several models, 2 ways, 4 ways, and 8 ways. 2 ways is to inspect 2 cell phones in depth and 10 cell phones quickly. 4 ways is to inspect 4 cell phones in depth and 100 cell phones quickly. 8 ways is to inspect 8 cell phones in depth and 200 cell phones quickly. Of course, different models, different functions, and different prices. Which one will work for you?